What could possibly go wrong? Anybody would think there's some Doctor Who news out there, wouldn't you? It depends who you talk to, doesn't it? And what we quantify as being news, being newsworthy, worth talking about. Most things are worth talking about, particularly with good friends here on YouTube. Thanks for being here, folks. Tom's making himself comfortable, so am I. Just pouring a drink. And nice to see the live chat filling up already. I've picked out a few morsels here for us to look at, and you and I can catch up, can't we? That's how it's gonna work. Hope you had a good weekend. Better than some, I suspect. Better than this guy. Just imagine. Can you imagine what it's like? Imagine just for a moment that you are Alan Cumming. Every single time. Every single time this bloke works for the BBC, they get him into some shit, don't they? First of all, he has to prop up a hopeless episode of Doctor Who. Then they bring him back and sort of get him to do it again, didn't they? And now, yeah. I suspect he's had a long lie-in. You got to laugh, haven't you? Hope you've all had a good weekend. Never mind, Alan. Back to the States he goes. He's been in a few states in his time already, I don't doubt. And so have I, come to think of it. Who am I? Well, I am, yes, that's me. I'm a bit of a twat, according to Doctor Who positivity. But you know, if I'm their kind of twat, then that means I must be okay. I'd say, hello, everybody. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks, and I am feeling in a somewhat mischievous mood. You know, if I do come out with any obscenities, I haven't got Tourette's. I genuinely think you're a God. Yes, so that's what's been going on in the culture this weekend. BBC never learned, do they? Offended just about all groups in the equation. Tourette's is real, everybody. Anyone you know, if you know somebody who suffers with that, it's real. It's no laughing matter. And to be made a sort of laughing stock, I think. Yeah, a lot of people out there haven't got the faintest idea, have they? But it was funny watching Alan Cumming squirm. That I do like. Watching a lovey squirm is never going to get old, is it? Okay. Who's here and what's going on this evening? I'm sorry to bring back some terrible memories for people of the Ncuti Gatwa era, the Jodie Whittaker era. I know. Happy Places. It's better. It's better. Courtesy of the great Tom Baker. Yeah, so thank you for being here, folks. Who's here? Who's with me? Hail everyone. Lord Thoth. I couldn't have said it better myself. Good to see you. Stephen's in too. Good evening from a mild Wigan. It's been okay, hasn't it, the last few days? I mean, I think that it has pissed it down. Virtually every day. I think was yesterday the only day that it didn't rain. I didn't get soaked while I was out running, which is a miracle. Stephen's been watching the 1977 edition of the game show Call My Bluff with Robert Robinson. Now, there was a TV legend. Did he ever have to apologise? Probably. If Tom Baker featuring on Call My Bluff, that sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, the BBC4 has turned into a sort of archive channel now, hasn't it? They don't make new material anymore. They just dig into the archives for terrific stuff like that that's been left unseen for decades. Good. It's a good use of the valuable resources and the cultural heritage that we have here in Britain. Oh, that can't be right. Britain has no culture, does it? Oh, I must not have got the upgrade. Right, Starmer. Yeah. Hail, Lord Thoth. So Stephen Braddock's in as well. Farsight. I don't know what that is about Farsight. People are confusing me already. But there are 4-letter words flying around in the live chat. Yes, so feel free. Let them fly, whether you're a sufferer or not. I love both of them. That's exactly what I told her. She didn't think it's very funny. No. Hi, Dan, says Stephen. Hi, everyone, says John O. Good evening, all. Hope everyone's well. I'm okay, Dave. How are you? Thanks for joining us, Dave. Oh, and I've spoken too soon. It's raining where Cheryl is there. Hello, everyone. Perfect for a rainy night here. Yeah, I've got a few things I wanted to talk about. I'm not sure how many of them we will talk about, because the whole virtue of a chill stream is that it's chilled out, isn't it? People reminiscing about Tom Baker's greatest hits outside of Doctor Who. Yeah, I see. So we've got the book tower. Book tower, 11 series between 1979 and 1989. Tom didn't host them all, though, did he? Other people did the book tower as well, as I remember. I can't remember who. I think Colin Baker was involved in something very similar in either the late 80s or the early 90s. Oh, Donnie's in. And he says, hello, Dan and all. Hope everyone's final weekend of the Olympic Winter Games as well. What are you talking about, man? Thanks to my men's and women's national hockey team. You've lost me. Is that a mixed hockey team? Men and women playing on the same team together? Might have to let me know. Get the fashion police, says for Alan Cummings. I think it's just Cumming. It's not plural. You can make your own jokes up with that one. Ain't we all, Dan? Ain't we all? Evening all, says Woodhouse 122. And Cheryl could do with a good laugh, couldn't we all? The winter's not been too bad. I don't like complaining. It's just been a bit grey and damp. Rain. Oh, we have got plenty of rain. It hasn't rained here, so I'm up on the deal, but nobody else obviously is. Good evening, everyone, from Adrian. Good to have a few of you here. Yeah. So, where should we start? What should we look at? Well, I like to twiddle and to fiddle, but that's later on. For now, I'm just going to mess with my TARDIS tuner and see what signals I'm picking up here at what's been on the radar for us to sort of get up and have a look at and have a mod with, ideally. We do like a bit of fan art here, as you know. And I saw this fabulous piece the other day, inspired by Flatline, the Peter Capaldi episode, I think. And I don't know, again, this is another one, because you see something, and if you don't know the name of the artist, it's a real pity. But if this was you, then I love it. I really love the colours, the light, and the fact that they've got Peter Capaldi's eyebrow in there. Yeah, I think that's really cool. Make a good Christmas card, wouldn't it, this? Because I haven't seen much fan art lately, to tell you the truth, that is kind of traditional. And although I think this probably was done on a tablet, it still counts as sort of traditional art, doesn't it? It's been done freehand. I think it's been done with a keen finger rather than with a mouse. So I kind of like that. Farsight is a big fan of Flatline. One of the best New Who stories. I'd probably hold with that. Great stuff, great stuff. And sticking with New Who, I also wanted us to take a look at this one. This is from Stephen Braddock, who's in the live chat, I think. This was Stephen's take on The Silence. They're coming right at you. Yeah, I think he's looking at you, Cheryl. He's coming to get you. With his accomplice. I can't remember how much of The Silence sort of plot line was resolved now. It's all sort of morphs into one after a while, doesn't it? Very good, very good. And from the classic era, courtesy of our very own problem being, we've got this terrific portrait of the Fourth Doctor. Inspired, I think, by the story Warrior's Gate. There's the ornate railings in the background, a wintry sky, the sunken eyes of the season 18 version of Tom's usually quite jovial Doctor. Great stuff there from Problem Being. And he's also supplied one of his predecessor too. There's a John Pertwee illustration there. The hawkish John Pertwee. Looks like it's from the Sea Devils, doesn't it? I recognise the outfit and the door. Good to limber up with a bit of Doctor Who fan art, I think. So as always, if you're an artist or you know an artist you think we'd enjoy their work, send it in. Send it to me and we'll put it up on the screen, and we'll all enjoy the fruits of their labours. A terrific work from Lee, from Stephen, and our unknown artist. Stephen O'Neill hasn't seen Warrior's Gate since it was first broadcast in 1981. Really? All this time? You've never been tempted to go back to it in 45 years? Why is that, Stephen? Why have you deliberately? You must have been deliberately avoiding it. We had the director of Warrior's Gate, Paul Joyce, on the podcast a couple of years ago. Fascinating man, absolutely fascinating. So I'd certainly recommend you look again. It's never been one of my favourite stories. Simon Horton adores it. It's the story that made him want to be a director himself, which is a story that Paul and Simon sort of talk about together on that edition of the show. So if you look in the playlist, there's an enhanced video edition of that on the channel as well. All good, all good. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot less traditional art around at the moment. Lots of AI artwork. And I still don't know which side of the fence I rest on when it comes to AI. A lot of people sort of, they have the garlic and the crucifix up, don't they, when you mention AI to them. And despite the fact that I'm a professional illustrator and graphic designer, we're traditionally disciplined as well with markers and pens and pencils and paint. I don't feel as militant about AI being a bad thing as some people do. I'm old enough to remember when Apple Macs came in, when Photoshop was first a thing, and a lot of the criticisms, a lot of the fire directed at AI, it's similar to some of the arguments that were put in front of innovations like Photoshop 35 years ago. So, yeah, I don't know quite where I sit with it at the moment. But it can't be argued that obviously the AI does harvest, doesn't it, from pre-existing artwork and imagery created by people like me, people like Stephen, people like Daryl Joyce, people like Lee, anybody who's created and put it out there. So there is a question to be asked and answered there. It's just that I don't think that pretending that AI doesn't exist or trying to uninvent it is the way to go, really. No. I really love this piece, for example, by Doctor Who in the Mid-Journey, here, where the Cybermen have invaded the TARDIS all the way back in 1996. And so these are the versions of the Cybermen as seen in the Radio Times comic strip Dreadnought, if you remember, that ran for a full year, didn't it? That comic strip, a half-page comic strip, stories by Gary Russell, one of my favourite writers, Gary, and lovely guy as well. Gary did all that, and Lee Sullivan was the artist, wasn't he? If you remember those. I've still got all those torn from the pages of the Radio Times. And I thought this redesign of the Cybermen was brilliant as well. But in this, yeah, they're inside the Doctor's TARDIS. They've got it. This one comes from Doctor Who and the Mid-Journey, because it's all about the Eighth Doctor at the moment, isn't it? I was wondering over the weekend, we were following the story of the TV movie Blu-ray, if you remember. Now, the other day, the story broke that the TV movie was coming out in this brand new 4K Blu-ray mega disc steelbook edition. My God, that was an exciting day. So much so that we changed all our plans for what we were doing on the live stream on the Big Who to tell you about that and to sort of celebrate really the announcement that a lot of us never thought we'd get. This version of the TV movie that goes right back to those masters and all rescanned, restored, and looking better than ever. We had the trailer, didn't we? And we had some beautiful sort of comparison shots and things. Really exciting day. But of course, when you see so much imagery and the appetite for a piece of merchandise is so ravenous, what happens is that those items they tend to sell out, and that's exactly what happened to the TV movie. So I do let me know, how did you get on securing your copy of the brand new Doctor Who the movie multi-disc edition that's coming out in May? I pre-ordered mine as soon as it went live. I got very, very lucky. I found out about it. I think it had only been listed for a couple of hours, so I ordered it right away. But a lot of people weren't so lucky, were they? I had to go back and check because they took it down and then put it back up again. I went back and checked, and sure enough, my order is still good for $34.99. I've gone for Amazon this time. But Rare Waves, I recommend them. They were really good. HMV are quite dependable too. So are Zavi, I think. I've used them all. But this time, yeah, I just went straight. I was on Amazon at the time anyway, so I just happened to be there. So did you get your order through? They did. They sold out within the 12 hours of it going live the following day. 12 hours on something which is 30 years old and has been released 4 or 5 times. It's extraordinary, isn't it? So it is 35 sheets there for that steel book with the 4K and the Blu-ray. And we've got some pricing too, finally. It was just somebody did mention this on Type 40 Live the other night. We have it confirmed, yeah. So you can get the 4K and the Blu-ray are available individually in standard Amaray boxes with equally beautiful artwork there. If you want to go for the 4K, you're going all out with Ultra HD. That's $24.99, and the Blu-ray is $14.99. You can't really go wrong with any of these options, can you? Depending on your kit, your budget, your needs. We have a list of extras, but I believe there's more that's going to be announced. Woodhouse122 says here, it was crazy on Friday with the steelbook selling out for a while. I ordered it at 12 p.m. from HMV on Friday lunchtime. Yeah, and I think it was by about 8 o'clock in the evening. I was getting messages from people saying, I've tried to order it and it's gone, it's sold out, it's this, it's that, it's the other. David Milling, I think he managed to get his in. Gary Akers managed to get one pre-ordered. But yeah, a few people weren't so lucky. But I believe it was up again within another 12, 18 hours. Certainly by the end of Saturday, it was available again. Farsight pre-ordered it at 3 minutes past 12 on Friday. It's back in stock, Cheryl. So if you do want it, it's believed they're going to increase the orders to meet the demand here. To see the Doctor and Grace in 4K on Blu-ray, however you want to get it. I was at work, says Stephen, so I had to fake going to the loo so I could order it. Well, you can say you're wetting yourself with excitement, Stephen. Fantastic model work on Warrior's Gate, says Farsight. Yeah, superb. Some of the best model work that's ever been done on the show from Matt Irvin and various colleagues. And back to Warrior's Gate. Stephen O'Neill says it was not one of my favourite stories. That season is not my favourite. I only liked The Keeper of Traken and Legopolis, but each to their own. It's not one of my favourite seasons either, to tell you the truth. But yeah, it's just that I've watched even the stories I don't like. I've watched them several times. So yeah, I mean, last year I went back to Planet of Evil for the podcast. If you remember, I reviewed that with Simon, I think it was. I can't remember who else was on that one. Certainly Simon Horton was on it, and Sarah. I think Charlotte was there too. And yeah, I still thought it was bloody awful. But I'll probably watch it again in a couple of years' time. No, I recommend you have a look at Warriors Gate again. It's a curiosity. It's not a story that I find an easy watch. And just when I think I understand it, it slips away from me, to tell you the truth. But if you want to know what it's really about, ask Simon Horton. He's the brains of the outfit. I have to keep mine to stop it from leaking out my ears. I have to wear this hat, you see. So it works. Very, very small brain. Very, very small. Yes, Dan, AI is here to stay. You should really check out the Star Wars short film, Beggar's Canyon. It's stunning and proper Star Wars. So is that an AI short film? Is that what you're saying? Beggar's Canyon. Yeah, there's so many Star Wars sort of fan films and short films kicking around that there was sort of an overabundance of them that eventually I stopped watching them. But I was always in awe of the people who'd made them. So yeah, by all means, drop a link to that in the comments, and I'll get around to it. Definitely. And Stephen asks, Dan, do you think they have AI'd Doctor Who the movie like they have season 13? No. No, why would they? No, but no. They've explained the process. It's been rescanned. It's been restored. Now, there are reasons why they are employing AI on the classic series releases. And they've given their reasons, they've given their justifications, and explained their workflow as best as they can. It's probably more than they need to. I personally don't agree with that, but they have explained why they're doing it and where we see it and what are their ideal outcomes of it, which leaves us with a choice to make, doesn't it, about whether we purchase or not. When it comes to Doctor Who the movie, they've been able to go back to film. The whole thing was shot on film, 35mm film, wasn't it? So again, Luke's not here to do all the really the really deep film enthusiast lore. So all the detail they'll ever need will be in that 35mm. So there's no need to use AI on it in any way. And I can't think of any reason why they would. Whereas to bring it up to spec, to be viewed on modern televisions through modern players, it doesn't need any upscaling of any kind. All the information is there. In fact, there's probably even more information than could be displayed by 4K if you listen to what Luke said on the show the other night, with his 12K and his 20K and all the other things. So, no, yeah, don't worry. I think Doctor Who fans is like, we need to chill. We need to chill. Back to the TV movie. Woodhouse 122 says the TV movie is 1, 2, and 3 in the bestsellers chart on Amazon at the moment. How have they managed that? Really? 1, 2, and 3 in the bestsellers chart for one film. I think I see what you don't mean. It's like Lord of the Rings, where the Two Towers, Return of the King. Do you mean each individual release is bang, bang, bang like that? Gotcha. And David managed to get it in when Amazon restocked it. Phew. Wonderful to see all 3 versions of it at number 1, though. Restores my faith in the relative health of Who today. I'd like to say this is great for Doctor Who, and this should be a strong indicator to the people who run the line that this was a wise move. This was worth the investment. They will reap the rewards by having more of them reproduced. But it's also, in all fairness, from the other side of the aisle, it's also an indicator of the shrinking physical media market, where a TV movie that was made 3 decades ago can be re-released and outsell everything else by whatever margin. Because fewer people buy physical media now. It tends to be people who are a bit more nerdy, a bit more geeky. And if you're nerdy about your kit, about your screens, about your players, then you're probably nerdy about the kind of entertainment you watch. You probably consume a lot of cult media, you know, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars, all that kind of thing. So it's all, it depends on, was it McCoy's doctor said it all depends on who you are and how you look at it. And that's true with this. But generally speaking, of course, this is a good thing. It's great for the brand. And it's good for us as well to have something to be enthusiastic about. A day in the calendar to look forward to. Tuesday the 26th, wasn't it? Something like that, yeah. Got it here. Tuesday the 26th of May, 2026. It will be with you. I have very little doubt. I've just remembered what the postal service is like now. Okay, so it depends on who you've ordered it with, whether it'll be with you or not by that. I mean, some people will get it before that day, won't they? Some do. Over-eager retailers do send them out early. And no doubt some people will get their review copies early as well. All will be well. I mean, it depends on when you plan on watching it, really. If you're going to watch it that night for the 30th anniversary, you think, oh, let's settle back in my armchair, get a drink on the go. And, you know, if it's going to be the centerpiece of your evening, of course you want it, don't you? Yeah, get it. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? Right, Bill. We have David Mullins says the classic series was never made or intended to be seen on 50-inch high-def screens. So today they try too hard to squeeze out picture quality that isn't actually there to have. Yeah, they've got priorities. They've got things that they view as being important, as being desirable for the product. I believe that they should do some market research. I'm sure there are some Doctor Who fans who want it. In fact, I know there are, but I suspect there's a damn sight more that don't. The overwhelming majority don't. They want to continue buying the product that they first began to invest in. When was it? All the way back in 2018 when the range first started. It's that simple. That certainly counts for me. If they want to put out a range of AI-enhanced box sets as well as an option, or include those episodes as an option on said discs, that's fine too. So will you be getting seasons 16 and 11 if they AI those seasons? Well, this is it. Again, I don't know about you, and this isn't, again, I don't want to keep going over the same talking points over and over again. I'm a completist. I buy them all. And this is why I feel missold a line of merchandise, particularly when you're this far in. There's not that many sets left to come out. You know, we'll have the black and white sets. So why would I not buy the remaining 2 or 3 and then the black and white sets over something like this? It's not, you know, some people, I know that there are people out there who don't buy each season, and yeah, that's, you do you and all that. But I'm not one of them. I buy them all, and I'll continue to buy them all. But at every available opportunity, when asked especially, I will tell them how I feel about it. Doctor Who did very well in the VHS days as well. It did, yeah. It was, well, the market, again, the market was new, wasn't it, Billy? The market was new. We, as a community, most of us had never seen those stories, either never seen them before or hadn't seen them for anywhere between 10, 15, 20 years. So it was like the doors of the archive were finally open, and this stuff was flying out at us, wasn't it? So that's, yeah, that was genuine kind of event status for every release, I suppose, particularly when they dropped the price point down to the standard $9.99 and the whole sell-through market exploded. God, those were happy days. Happy days. I'd have to do a whole live stream about the VHS range. I think that would be cool. I think that would be good. Garbage says, I'm sure 8 inches won't make that much difference. Okay. I'm not saying anything. I bought season 13, and I will buy 11 and 16 when they are released. Yeah, they know they've got us. They've got us all by the short and curlies, haven't they? They have. Okay, so we've covered AI, we've covered Blu-ray, we've covered Paul McGann, we've covered Alan Cumming, we've covered all sorts of things so far. There's actual sort of news to touch upon as well. See if you fancy any of that after I do this. Thank heaven for Deadline. They're always on it, aren't they? A quality outlet based in the States, respectable, dependable, and they always ask the questions I think that Doctor Who fans would like the answers to, don't they? I was surprised to see this week they'd managed to get an interview. This is the first proper interview in 3 years, so it says, with this girl. So this is Lindsay Salt, this woman. She is the director of drama at the BBC. She's spoken at the Edinburgh Television Festival. That was last September, wasn't it? And we looked at some of the things that she said then, along with a couple of colleagues, connected with Doctor Who. There were statements, there were brief statements. But here she is speaking with Deadline, specifically about the financing of Doctor Who and addressing where they are right now. She didn't say much, but what she did disclose to Deadline was that despite a lot of the speculation in the media and here in the fandom, conversations have not yet started on any arrangement, any co-production deal that may take place and take the series forward into a sort of post-Disney future. It is surprising in some respects that it hasn't started yet. But then again, I suspect that some of the parties involved in the previous deal could still be smarting a little from such a public failure. I think the failure of the Ncuti Gatwa era, it's definitely the biggest failure of Russell T Davies' career, and he made Cucumber. It's the biggest failure ever in his filmography, whatever you want to call it. Russell's not used to failure. So there's that. There's the fact that a lot of it was so public. And obviously when you make a big swing like that by getting into bed with something, an entity as high profile as Disney, with one of the few sort of household brands in Britain that is bigger than the BBC and Doctor Who, and with stronger iconography, and to come out of it arguably for the worse. Yeah, there's egg on everybody's faces, everybody who was involved. So if there's going to be any licking of wounds over the next 6 to 12, even 18 months to 2 years, I think that's... Not only do I think it's quite funny, because if you couldn't see what was going to happen, if you couldn't at least have some indication of where the pitfalls were, as a lot of us in the fandom did, I think we could all see the pitfalls. I, quite foolishly, imagined that if I could see the pitfalls, then they definitely could, because they're TV professionals, but no. Not a chance. So, this is Lindsay Salt. And, she spoke specifically about how the climate of the TV industry has changed in the last 6 years. And she stressed that when Disney and the BBC and Bad Wolf got together on that deal in the first place, it was in what they're calling the post-COVID co-production boom, believe it or not. This is seen as a thing within the industry. So obviously the 60th anniversary, that was on the way to us. That's very much what we were focused on. What were they going to make? When was it going to start shooting, and who was going to be in it? But in 2020, the streaming platform wars, that was sort of just kicking off, wasn't it? Netflix was hugely successful, and everybody was launching their own streaming platform. And each studio, I suppose, that was entering that arena was willing to spend large capital on building up content and IP. And that's sort of where the stars aligned, really, for both Doctor Who and Disney, I suppose, on paper. It's one of those what could possibly have gone wrong moments, wasn't it? Yeah. I know. So yes, it is very much to be continued whenever we're not sure. But Lindsay Salt went on to say, speaking to Deadline, there are different ways of setting up a show. We just need to make sure we do it in the right way and make sure we take the right time to do it. Ultimately, it's one of the BBC's most treasured brands, so it's not going anywhere. Now, this is something that Ms. Salt and colleagues said at the Edinburgh TV Festival. That was 6 or 7 months ago now. There's more here. There's not a great deal more, but there is more here. What I'm picking up on from this language is a strong signal that they want to send to us and the mainstream media, or certainly the mainstream independent media, places like Deadline, Radio Times, all those places. What they're signaling to me is the fact that we're going to be some way away from any kind of long-term future for Doctor Who, or maybe even any commission, any firm commission of a further season at all. And that's regardless of the press release from the media centre all the way back in October. The BBC confirms a future for Doctor Who and a new Christmas special for 2026. What do you think? Obviously, it's all on the BBC themselves now, and Bad Wolf / Sony. Sony still own Bad Wolf. But this is the Lindsay Salt and BBC drama, making sure we know that to chill our boots, I suppose. Doctor Who catapulted Ncuti into oblivion, says, I am your servant. Yeah, Ncuti Gatwa, the ultimate. Is he a has-been yet? I think he's on his way to being a has-been already. I sincerely do. Woodhouse 122 can't see any Doctor Who being made at the present time apart from the 2026 Christmas special. Well, no further Doctor Who has been commissioned yet. They're adamant that they do intend on making more. Now, this still stands. And I'm not saying we should discount this. I don't think they've changed their minds. But what Lindsay Salt is saying is, don't expect it next week. Don't expect to hear anything, maybe even this year at all. In some respects, I agree with Woodhouse 122 in that it is of a similar tone to Peter Cregeen's statement in 1990, looking at the best way to take Doctor Who through the 90s. That was a different age then. They had no idea the value of Doctor Who then, the BBC. They do now. They may not have any firmer idea about how to make it than they did 35 years ago, but they know what it's worth now. Lindsay Salt goes on in her account for what's going to happen, because obviously Bad Wolf and the BBC are locked into this deal until 2029. So whatever you've seen, whatever you've read anywhere else, it's going nowhere. If it's a choice between no Doctor Who and Doctor Who somewhere else, it's going to be no Doctor Who. Yes, people can buy their way out of production deals, but why would you? Particularly when you've got that enormous TARDIS set. But yeah, Lindsay Salt went on to say this, again, speaking to Deadline, about Doctor Who. I've learned a lot about the tenacity of producers and writers to make things at all budget levels. Things are getting funded in so many different ways now. We'll wait and see how we figure it out. HBO have been great partners creatively. So yes, the BBC has a co-production deal in place with HBO on several shows, both now and in the past. And I think it was HBO and Bad Wolf and the BBC that made his Dark Materials, wasn't it? And are they all together on The Night Manager season 2? I think they may be. She closes out by saying there's a lot of stuff that is changing out there. So the landscape is evolving, it's changing. Things that were priorities during that post-COVID boom, where the American streaming platforms were each sinking their teeth in, I suppose, to come away with the biggest piece of the pie they possibly could. That's not happening anymore. Apparently Disney Plus is losing money. It's never made money any year that it's been operational, which I think it launched in 2020, 2021, wasn't it, with the Mandalorian, season 1 of The Mandalorian. But Lindsay here insists she's learnt a lot about the tenacity of producers and writers to make things at all budget levels. Now, that ties into something that Russell T Davies said quite a long time ago, certainly way before it was confirmed that the Disney and Bad Wolf deal was over. Do you remember he said that there is a version of Doctor Who out there that could exist, which is budgeted much smaller and goes out at midnight on BBC 3 or something like that? Can't remember exactly what he said. But that's kind of, you can bet that's the kind of conversation that they've had. Doctor Who potentially going from being a show on a global streaming platform, which fits in to a specific band, a budgeted band, because that's how these things work. There are certain bands. It works in tiers almost. I have got a list of the budgets of these tiers somewhere, but this is an industry standard pretty much. And if Doctor Who has to drop down that tier, respective of that which the funds, the money that is invested in it to make it sort of per episode, per season, dependent on the kind of audience they would expect it to reach, then so be it. Doctor Who will be retailored to suit whatever its target audience will be next on whichever platform that it appears on. Clearly, the desire seems to be from the director of drama here. The desire is still there to find a new global streaming platform partner. We'll wait and see how we figure it out. HBO have been great partners creatively. Does that mean that it's going to end up with HBO? No. But it does mean that Miss Salt hasn't lost faith in the principle, the theory of placing Doctor Who with a global streaming platform. And if she's willing to speak in this way with Deadline, who, Deadline aren't stupid. This is they're probably the biggest entertainment outlets in the Western world. She knows she's not talking to novices, so she's speaking to them with a degree of respect. The BBC have got some show coming, haven't they, with HBO Max and the actress writer Michaela Cole. Come to think of it, Shooty Gat was involved in that. This to be her problem, not ours. So, as we expected, the Christmas special will go into production this spring, and the financing will be provided entirely by the BBC and Bad Wolf co-production. Resources are being balanced as we speak. How much? I'll leave that for now. Yes, so resources are being balanced and managed as we speak, and we'll be hearing more on the special sooner rather than later. Who will it star? This seems to be the general accepted opinion, wisdom out there, that David Tennant will join Billie Piper for this Christmas special. What do you think? Is it a little too obvious? David Tennant gave that interview a few weeks ago saying that he cancelled the convention, wasn't it? For I can't remember the exact dates. Is anybody keener on this than they were before? I don't know. Exetrek Jedi is with us in the live chat. Stephen O'Neill says, with hindsight, the series should have just ended as Peter Capaldi started to regenerate and fade to black. If you go and find the fan edit of Twice Upon a Time, which is called 13, and the work of the unwoke Cyberman on X, go and get that. Go and get that fan edit, because that's exactly what happens. And you can watch that, and then you can pretend the last 8 years never happened. So I would recommend you do that. Trek Jedi says, I'm thinking Alphabet, Google, YouTube will be the home to international streaming of Doctor Who. Why would you think that? Why would you think that? I know what you're getting at. Look, this is something the BBC spoke a few weeks ago simply of a desire to work with YouTube, didn't they? But to assume that Doctor Who, it's one thing to acknowledge the fact that the BBC wishes to expand on YouTube. I'm sure they do, because the BBC are continually looking to find ways to not just retain their funding model, but to expand it and to make it compulsory for anybody who watches entertainment of any kind anywhere to pay them a license fee. So that is more what that's about. There's a chance Doctor Who could turn up on YouTube, of course there is, but don't think just because the BBC and YouTube may be entering into some sort of arrangement that will mean that they'll be letting them have something like Doctor Who or Strictly or anything like that. So I understand it's tempting to go to the sort of farthest extreme conclusion, but I would resist that. Stephen was so excited about Russell T Davies coming back with Tennant and Tate. Little did we know the train wreck it would end up. Little did we know. Little did we know. Yeah, so keep an eye on the YouTube and BBC stuff, but I suspect it's more to do with legislation than anything creative. Apparently the BBC HBO drama starring Ncuti Gatwa is called First Day on Earth. I'll give it a miss. Not heard of that, unless that's one with Michaela Cole, unless that's the same show. Is everybody as bored with David Tennant as I am? It seems like Woodhouse is. Everybody seems to think it's nailed on that he's going to be in this. I think Tennant and Piper would be terrific. Tennant held the 3 specials together. Tennant was great in those 3 60th anniversary specials. He really was. He's never let us down as the Doctor. I think he's let us down IRL. Myself. The nicest thing I can say about David Tennant at the moment is that at least he's not as annoying as his wife. So who knows? Maybe he'll be there with Billy Piper come this Christmas for this Doctor Who 2026 Christmas special. Go and read the interview there with Lindsay Salt at Deadline. It's a lot longer, and there's a lot of shop that's talked. So I've very much cherry picked for the Doctor Who related quotes there, but in a sense, it's nothing new. But there's sort of just more body, I suppose, to more meat on the bones to what was hinted at the Edinburgh TV Festival all the way back in September, October time. So it's news, but not news. Just incremental news. Certainly nothing worthy of Type 40 Live. No. That'll be far more exciting than that. A YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X, of course, this coming Thursday, as always, from 7:30 p.m. here with myself and some good friends. And you too. No, you'll be there. It's going to be fun. But then again, it always is. Still some comments here about AI in the live chat as well. Yeah, it is. AI is a funny old business. And yeah, a few years ago, I used to have a girlfriend who believed that birthday cards for dead people who were no longer with us, was a market that should be cultivated and rolled out for the greetings cards industry. Of course, I used to just give her that look as if to say, "What are you on?" You know, it was ridiculous. But we are sort of there, aren't we, in digital form? I've noticed. So we've got these images turn up all the time on social media. Yeah, we've got, not only do we have birthday AI artwork there for the lovely Cameron Diaz, who's just reached her 53rd birthday. I'm not sure what she'd make of this picture. So we don't only get that, these sort of cringe-worthy birthday images for real people, but we get these sort of happy heavenly birthday things for the dear departed, much missed, great talents, great actors like the great Alan Rickman. You know, who doesn't miss Alan Rickman? Of course we do. If we miss him as a performer in those fantastic roles, and we hunger for the parts he never played, just imagine how his family feel, particularly if they see something like that. That's where I'm at with it. This is being done out of affection, I don't doubt, but I don't know. I just think it's a little icky, you know. What do you think? What do you think? Because today I saw some Doctor Who related AI art, and in a similar vein, really. It's this. So this video. Where are you? There you are. This video that turned up. Let's have a look. This turned up on. This is all over social media. This last day or two. So we've got. This is the cast of the William Hartnell era of Doctor Who. I mean, it's very, very clever. It's seamless. And so what we have is there's Jacqueline Hill. So we've got the actors and actresses as they were when appearing in the William Hartnell era of Doctor Who, all the way back then, 60 years ago, and we have them meeting their older selves as they are now, or in the case of the late Michael Craze, there in the Angel Wings again, just as we saw with the Alan Rickman picture. So, I think for every person you will see who finds this sort of stuff really touching, you find as many people who find it mawkish, if not distasteful. The likenesses are wonderful, and the set recreation too. It's very imaginative. Quite why Vicky is sat on a park bench in the TARDIS, I'm not entirely sure. Do you see what I'm saying? What's your opinion on this? Obviously, Carol Ann Ford very much still with us and part of the Doctor Who family. What are your thoughts about that? Doctor Who's long distinguished history. There's lots of people who are sadly no longer with us. Should we just let them rest in peace and respect their likeness? Or what? Don't know. See, I'm happy when AI can give me things that I've wanted for a long time, such as action figures for the 1980s geeky sci-fi show V. This is the kind of thing I think AI is brilliant for. I'd have killed for these action figures when I was a kid. So this is great, but I'm just really unsure about all the things to do with that. The actors who are no longer with us, and they can't sort of control how their likenesses are seen and give their approval for such things. What do you think? What do you think? Terrified Monk says it's neat but weird and maybe a little creepy. It's the way, because when they wave, I think the wave is meant to be a sort of, particularly when they're no longer with us, I think the wave is meant to say, bye-bye, it's been a lovely life, or maybe I'll see you again one day, that kind of thing, if you believe in the afterlife. That's the idea with that. It's meant to be sort of sympathetic and comforting. But because they've got that sort of, they haven't got a soul, those images, it just looks, creepy. Creepy. What's up, Dan, and all happy Monday, says Timescales. Happy Monday to you too, Grego. Alan Rickman's best performance was in Galaxy Quest, says Stephen Braddock. Oh, it's a very popular film. I personally think he was at his best in Truly, Madly, Deeply myself, but so many great roles. Fabulous actor. Probably one of Britain's best actors. Character actors. Too creepy for me, says David Mullen. And Cheryl says, I think they're a tiny bit weird. Because I was thinking, isn't that clever how it rotates? And I thought, well, should I be against this? I just know that don't like how it makes me feel. I think I'd feel better about it if they left the wings off. I think that's what makes it creepy. There's a rumor that Russell T Davies is keen to AI previous Doctors into this year's Christmas special. This, Stephen, is, now I haven't seen this rumor, but this is, I've got a great nose. I'm like one of the Bisto kids when it comes to this bullshit. This is what they call outrage farming. This is people out there on Reddit or in the creator space even who can't stand the fact that there's nothing happening, nothing to talk about, nothing to get angry about, and nothing to monetize to make you angry about, that they invent this shit so that you fixate on it, you get worried about it, and then you come and tell me about it. And I have to tell you that it's a load of old bollocks, and don't pay any attention to this sort of stuff, honestly. No. Russell T Davies is a prick, but he's got a bit more class than that. And there's just there's no chance. It'd be really expensive for a start. I mean, despite what we think about how these things ought to be made with AI because AI would be cheaper. Yes, AI would make filmmaking and TV production cheaper generally, but they'd still have to pay the likenesses for people who. What else is here? 3,000 morons clicked on a video of a Spock doll. That's my thoughts on it. You've lost me. You've lost me. The only video of a Spock doll I can think of was the action figure that my mate Gary put up when Starfleet Academy launched. But that wasn't AI. That was... I don't know. You have to tell me more. Tell me more. I am your servant. Tell me more. Yes, it's the wings, says Stephen Braddock. It's too much, isn't it? It's like those commemorative plates that the greatest generation used to have. You know, the generation who are no longer with us. They used to have plates, ornamental plates, all over their walls, sort of with people like Douglas Bader on them and things like that, or snooker players. Alex Hurricane Higgins, or people like Joe Davis, people like that. Yeah, it's just, yeah. More fans of the V figures. And why not just ask the actors, says Cheryl. They could do. I mean, some actors are happy to have their image used for AI in the future, aren't they? Some actors are more than happy. And again, there's not going to be a sort of one-size-fits-all answer to any of this, is there? Yeah, they have to pay the estates. But it'll be up to them. So if any of them don't want to be involved and thinks, yeah, give them the two, then that would need to be respected as well, wouldn't it? It would. I agree, David. Okay, I've got something else I wanted to talk to you guys about because it kind of follows up from something Sarah and I were talking about a few weeks ago. So before we go there, let's go here. Let's go back in time with this guy.
And what can I get you, sir?
Oh, give me a gin and tonic. No, make that a double. I need it. I just bought my television license.
Ah.
God, 58 quid. I ask you, 58 quid for the privilege of sitting in your own home, watching your own television set. It's diabolical. I mean, what's the BBC ever given us for 58 quid? God.
They make excellent dramas, huh?
What?
They make excellent dramas, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what? And pretty good natural history films. Yeah, but apart from excellent drama and the wonderful natural history programmes, what have the BBC ever given us?
Well, there's some jolly good cricket coverage. And golf.
Athletics. And Wimbledon. And racing.
Oh, sport.
And snooker.
How could you miss it?
And there's superb news coverage from very early in the morning.
News.
And there's politics,
Elections?
current affairs,
Yeah, true, point taken.
documentaries,
Yeah, all right, documentaries granted.
consumer programs, and series.
Fine, all right, but look, the point is...
Films.
Yeah, but...
And radio, too.
And 1.
And 3.
And 4.
Yeah, all right, I forgot about radio. But...
There's children's telly too.
And science.
All right, fair enough, yeah.
And comedy. Yes, comedy. Yeah, that's always laughing. And there's alternative comedy.
Yeah, all right, fair enough, yeah. All right, there's comedy and alternative comedy, but...
And they did live bait for us.
Oh, they did that, didn't they? Okay, point taken, fair enough. But, be fair, apart from excellent drama, the natural history programmes, the sports coverage, news, current affairs, documentaries, the consumer programs, series, films, Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 3, Radio 4, children's television, science, comedy, alternative comedy, and music. What have the BBC ever given us?
Well, there's chat shows.
Oh, shut up, Wogan. I mean, there's not even any commercials. Well, except this one.
16p. 16p. I don't know. My feeling has always been that the BBC, it's decent value for money, providing you actually watch it. Hello, welcome back. News. According to the Radio Times, Doctor Who composer reveals multiple scripts have been written for the Christmas 2026 special. According to the Radio Times, the naughty Radio Times have made it out in this graphic like this was their news to bring, haven't they? They do own up when you click on the article. I've done it for you. Apparently that was Doctor Who there. It all seems like a distant memory, doesn't it? What on earth was he doing? Anyway. Yes, so... yes, it's nothing to do with the Radio Times at all. They've done none of this. All they've done is type it up and spout it out. The real story comes courtesy of our mate on the Half the Picture podcast once again. So that's Billy Barnell, or Barnell. Great name, Billy. Jealous of his name, getting really jealous of his podcast. This is really turning into a great show for creatives to follow, whether it's music, whether it's art, commercial art, or storytelling you're into. Billy's a real culture vulture. Some great people been on this show. He's been letting his Who Geek show again just in the last few days for a long-form interview with the Doctor Who composer Murray Gold. On episode 25, Scoring Doctor Who, they've called it. And just the same as the Peter Capaldi interview from a few months ago, he gets a good hour and a half, hour and 3/4 with Murray Gold. Gold talks about the entire process of scoring TV shows, not just Doctor Who, but the myriad of other things that he's worked on. Before, I think, what was the last thing I saw him do? He did that show with Rachel Weisz, the Dead Ringers show, didn't he? For Amazon Prime a couple of years ago. So Murray Gold does have an international career outside of Doctor Who, but he's very loyal to it. I've never heard Murray Gold speak for this length of time about anything before. For him to kind of let his guard down, I get the impression he's quite a private man, an eccentric man, certainly. But he's been involved with Doctor Who for 20 years, 20 plus years now. And yeah, I know so little about him. He's usually, if you ever do see him on telly, he's usually sort of stood at the front of an orchestra, sort of waving his arms in the air, isn't he? But yeah, I've got several of these sort of CDs and vinyls and things like that. Fabulous, distinctive music for Doctor Who, all the way back in 2005. There's finally a complete sort of CD range of them all, as well, isn't there, now that Series 10's out. But the themes of the show, whether they're associated with the characters or particular episodes, have this massive extended life, don't they? And that's down to the instincts of Murray Gold. His music isn't for everyone. And I think there was a time where Gold did feel a little played out with the show. But since his return too with Russell T Davies, I think that some of the music that we've been given has been outstanding. I think he did feel reinvigorated after a few years away. As part of this interview, Murray Gold does offer advice, believe it or not, for Russell T Davies, advising him to throw caution to the wind, specifically concerning Doctor Who. What does he know that we don't? Because on the strength of this interview, Murray Gold doesn't know that much in the nicest possible way. In many respects, he seems like a guy who's too busy to be all over the comings and goings in Doctor Who in the way that we all are. He's very successful at what he does, isn't he? So as part of this interview, Billy and Murray touch on a lot of the changes that composing for television, and specifically Doctor Who, have been through over the last 20 years. Giving each Doctor their theme, favourite episodes of Gold's to work on. He talks about individual relationships too, with not just the showrunners Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat, but directors like Rachel Talalay as well. Instances where he's had to work more closely with directors and other people on staff than others. So it's a very, very generous, very intimate, and very casual interview that Billy conducts really, really well. I can't recommend this enough. And there's one podcaster talking about another one that does stick in the throat every time. So this is worth your time, of course it is. It's great to see Billy able to really geek out over this, but he also demonstrates a greater range of knowledge of Gold's other work and a knowledge of music too. Billy does interview musicians, singers, songwriters, so he's clearly an audiophile as well, I suppose you could say. A big blessing I found in this interview is how human it is. So Gold turns up in his civvies, as you can tell. So he's in a hat not dissimilar to mine. And you know, he gets a little bit hot halfway through the interview and has to take it off. You know, he jokes about the fact that he finds himself now in middle age, follically challenged. And he talks about his wife and his kids and going on holiday and all that kind of thing. And it's just really nice. He's an odd man. I don't think he'd mind me saying that, but winningly so. He talks about meeting childhood heroes, his love of Doctor Who as a boy. And Billy asks him pretty much every question I think that any one of us would if we had little time in Murray Gold's company. So have you seen this yet? Have you caught this yet? What do you think? It's on my very long list, says Lord Tharth. Okay. Not sure that was great advice to give to Russell T Davies. No. What worries me is that has what we had over the last 2 seasons in particular, has that really been Russell T Davies playing it safe on any level? I find that a scary thing to comprehend. What on earth would he gift us if going properly off the leash? Russell T Davies, as I've said before, as we're sticking to on Type 40 Live, Russell T Davies will depart his showrunner's role with this Christmas special, due to enter production in just a few weeks' time. I'm choosing my words very, very carefully. Billy did ask Gold specifically about the special in a really casual way. He didn't make a big deal of it. And Murray Gold, he didn't do the thing that they usually do and either claim ignorance or laugh nervously or anything, or say anything like, "Oh, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you." You didn't get anything like that from Murray Gold. He just came out with what he thinks he knows. So he said, "I know that Russell's written, I think, multiple versions, depending on certain outcomes. So that's all I really know. And I'm not sure I'm even supposed to know that," said Murray Gold in a really offhand way in this great interview on Half the Picture. So again, I know that Russell's written, I think, multiple versions depending on certain outcomes. So that's all I really know. And I'm not sure I'm even supposed to know that. So Gold specified that, you know how certain people who've been involved in Doctor Who in the past have said, "Oh, I'm the very last person you should tell because I always blurt it out. So when they tell me something, I say, 'Oh, don't tell me,' or that kind of thing." I think John Barrowman was prone to blurting things out, wasn't he? Things that were considered spoilers, and they tried to make, some people just act as, some are better than others, aren't they? Which is probably, they have NDAs, they're more commonplace now. Murray Gold would have you believe, and I don't see any reason not to believe him, I don't see what he'd have to lose. Murray Gold would have you believe that his part in the production being such as it is, kind of working in isolation to some degree once he's been to several, I think, what did he call them? He calls them spot check meetings, where they will go through each episode and at the storyboard level, and we need a bit of music there, we need something there. Once they've established what the director needs from him, Gold is quite insistent as part of this interview, he'd rather be left to sort of go off and work on whatever he and his colleagues, his musicians, are going to do, and then reconnect later. So I get the impression he's at arm's distance from this. And I also got the impression that it's not Russell who's told him this, that this has made its way to Gold, as they've no doubt been checking on his availability too for later on this year, one would imagine. So he knows that Russell's written multiple versions of that Christmas 2026 special. Now, there's no way that means that there are 2, 3, 4, 5. I've heard it said as many as 6. There is no way that there's 6 entirely different, complete scripts for this one episode of Doctor Who. That's not an effective use of anybody's time. But I think what is quite likely is that there are elements where maybe one character could be swapped out for another. Some set pieces may be moved around depending on if there's any location filming involved. As I understand it, the special will include minimal location work because of grounds of secrecy. So there's that. My guess would be, as is commonplace, as was the case with the Reality War, that anything that would change would be at the back end of the production. Are they looking to cast a new lead actor that could take the show forward? I think that depends on how realistic it is that they get closer to receiving a commission from BBC Television, from the BBC itself, for further series of Doctor Who. Because you can't get an actor under contract if they don't know what they're going to be making and when they're going to be making it. Can you? It's not, I mean, yeah, I suppose you could pay, but Hollywood film studios can pay actors large fees for films that they may not end up doing. But the BBC can't do that, particularly if they're going it alone, or if the BBC and Bad Wolf are going it alone. Yes, Sony have got a few bob, but they're not going to just bankroll something like that either. So realistically, that's where the material's going to be, isn't it? Depending on certain outcomes. Now, is that in terms of the narrative, sort of who lives and who dies, who's on board, who isn't? We can't possibly know that, can we? We do know from reading the Writer's Tale book, the fantastic account of the original Russell T Davies era, courtesy of Russell T Davies and Ben Cook. It's a fantastic book, an essential Doctor Who book to own. That having multiple endings in mind isn't something that's unusual. It's not going to be alien to Russell T Davies. But Doctor Who being in the specific place that it is now, obviously it's probably never been more important than this to get it right. And when I say get it right, I don't even necessarily mean to deliver the best episode possible. I think they always try to do that. And that's worrying in itself, isn't it? But I think that the bigger priority here has to be not to paint themselves into a corner or to do anything that's going to generate even more bad publicity on top of the clickbait finale to the last season, which, yeah, people have stopped talking about this now. But each time you see that image of Billie Piper's, I hate to say this because I'm a big fan of Billie's, every time you see this gormless expression on her face, and her face, her head on Ncuti Gatwa's body like that, and just cheap and nasty special effects. Dark day for Doctor Who this was, creatively and visually. Somewhat of a low point. Gold went on to say, I think we're at a precarious point for Doctor Who. No shit. I think we're at a precarious point for Doctor Who. I am hopeful that it's all going to be the start of a wonderful new era. So I really hope that that's what happens. Hope is not a strategy, as a mate of mine is fond of saying. Hi, Gary. Hope is not a strategy. He's absolutely right. This is the only point, I think, where Murray Gold drifts into sort of corporate bullshit speak, saying the right thing. And I'm not going to knock him for that. Being involved, closely tied to a show for over 20 years in the way that he is with Doctor Who means that he will always be tied to Doctor Who. Murray Gold will always be known as Doctor Who composer Murray Gold. He could go on to score the next, I don't know, whatever the next big movie trilogy is, you know, the next set of Avatar films or Lord of the Rings films, whatever. He could go on to do something like that, and he would still be the Doctor Who composer. It's just the way it goes, isn't it? But what I do find interesting is that Murray is the latest person to acknowledge publicly, to say very, very clearly with no ambiguity, that Doctor Who is at a precarious point, a place of discomfort, uncertainty, and jeopardy. Stop laughing. Stop laughing at the back. I know. So what do you think? Have you heard this? Half the Picture is a great podcast. Have you been listening to this? Have you caught this one yet? Where are you at with it? Hopeless, says Matthew Pounder. A message of hope. Again from Matthew. We could always be relied upon. Rose Kirby says, my big question is this true? Or are they just telling whoppers? Lies and mistruths. The tone of this interview between Billie and Murray is really cards on the table. Very, very casual. Billie is fannish, but never comes across as being a creep. And therefore, Gold is at ease, comfortable, and open to pretty much any line of questioning. I mean, it's possible that it could have been edited. Don't get me wrong. He could have asked him something wildly inappropriate. But as it stands, I think we can judge this one on face value, Rose. There's no point. So much damage has been done to Doctor Who. It almost doesn't matter what anybody involved says anymore, because in most respects, things can't get any worse than they did after the reality war. A worse episode of Doctor Who could be screened, don't get me wrong. But the cultural currency of the show couldn't really get any lower. The appetite from the viewing public has already bottomed out, so that can't get any worse. So perhaps honesty will be the new policy within reason. They're not going to come out and tell us the entire storyline and who's in it, because they still want it to be an event. But this sort of showing your hand, yeah, things are bad. Doctor Who isn't a precarious situation. Murray Gold says Russell T Davies has written 6 different types of script for this year's Christmas special, God Help Us All. He didn't say that. As I say, he said multiple. He didn't say 6. So he is being misquoted. As is always the case, always go back to the source. Always. And it was all self-inflicted, says Matthew Pounder. The majority of it was, yeah. If Gold leaves, he'll be replaced by another from the Hans Zimmer Academy, says I Am Your Servant. Well, that's the kind of music that's in fashion at the moment, isn't it? When we had somebody totally different, Sega Nakanola, everybody hated it. So what do you do? I think there's a certain kind of music that is right for this show, which Murray does. I don't want to, if you haven't heard this interview, I don't want to spoil it for you. And I don't want to deny Billy and half the picture your views, because I can't stress this enough. This is worth your time. It's available across all major podcatchers. It's predominantly a podcast, but they have now launched this video edition too here on YouTube and other platforms. But it's been going as a podcast audio format. It's been going as a podcast for quite a while now, 25 episodes, something like that. Farsight says the Billy reveal was the most embarrassing moment in Doctor Who. It's up there. It's up there. For me, the most embarrassing moment in Doctor Who is still the frog on the chair, the plastic frog on the chair. But this was pretty bad. It's the understatement of the year, says Stephen O'Neill. I think we're at a precarious point for Doctor Who. And finally, we get this from Murray Gold speaking on the Half the Picture podcast. Half the Picture podcast. So Billy does ask him about his future involvement with Doctor Who. You know, how long can he stay doing something like that, being so involved with it? And he said that if someone asks me and says, do you want to do it? Of course, I would always say yes. I don't think I'd ever say no to Russell anyway. It's fun, even when it's hard. Murray Gold has been working with Russell T Davies for well over 20 years, certainly since The Second Coming. I think that was the first of his shows he worked on. So when would that have been? 2001, 2002? Long time. He scored years and years, didn't he? And It's a Sin. I think the bulk of Russell's output has featured music by Murray Gold. So this is not a working relationship that has broken down or shows any sign of ending anytime soon. Quite what he means by telling him to throw caution to the wind, though, does make me shiver. Yeah. But this is a great interview, and Murray Gold talks about his fondness for science fiction and cult entertainment growing up, with particular reference to one of my favourite shows, Sapphire and Steel, and one of my favourite recording artists, David Bowie. He talks about an instance where he met David Bowie and got a bit fanboyish with David. He dropped out that he was currently working on Doctor Who. And David Bowie said, "Oh, they've asked me to do that, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it." He was very insistent that he wasn't going to do Doctor Who. So quite why he was so reluctant, I don't know. But obviously, they certainly asked David Bowie to do Doctor Who as early as 1983. He was John Nathan Turner's dream pick to play Sharaz Jek in the Caves of Androzani. As I understand it, the BBC were also looking at him. It was David Bowie and Sting that were, no, it wasn't the BBC, it was Universal, wasn't it? Universal wanted either David Bowie or Sting to play the Doctor in the TV movie. So, yeah, there's a fun story, a long story about when Murray Gold met David Bowie and what David Bowie had to say about Doctor Who on this podcast. Loads of fun. Any David Bowie fans out there? Yeah, me too. Yes, it's nice to spend an hour and 3/4 in the company of Murray Gold, courtesy of Half the Picture. You could do a lot worse than bang this on. Get it in your ears when you're out on a run or the school run. Something like that. And it's a real blast from the past. And Murray Gold comes across as being very relatable. You know, I love Sapphire and Steel too. You know I do, amongst other things. So he gets a pass based on that alone. And I do like his hat. I'm going to find out where he got that one. So there they are. That's Billy Barnell and Murray Gold. The latest episode of Half the Picture, episode 25, across all major podcatchers and on YouTube too. There, go and find that. There's other Doctor Who interviews too there, including this talk with Yasmin Page of the Sarah Jane Adventures. Obviously, she went on to other things after her time in the attic with Sarah Jane and Luke and Clyde and K9 and all the other folks. I don't know, I can't remember. Lots of them. And there's the interview with Peter Capaldi as well that we talked about a couple of months ago, myself and Sarah. She loved that. I suspect she probably loved this too. She's a big fan of Murray Gold, so yeah, she probably would. Murray Gold will be back to provide music clearly for the upcoming 2026 Christmas special. Who will be in it? We don't know. But what does Murray Gold mean when he advises Russell T Davies to throw caution to the wind? Personally, on further thought, I agree with him. Yeah, he should throw caution to the wind and forget about Tennant. Forget about David Tennant. If you want to provide a real bookend to 21 years of New Who, they need to get Christopher Eccleston back, don't they? That would be throwing caution to the wind, wouldn't it? Just imagine. What a naughty thought that would be. Chris and Billy back together in the special. That would be fantastic. Do it. Murray Gold talks to Billy Barnell on Half the Picture. Go and get that and tell them that we sent you here from Type 40. Okay, who next and what next? I've been going longer than I thought. Oh, dear me. So a blast of this. What? Don't look at me like that. You did it, not me. Relax. Relax. We're only a few days away from Type 40 Live, Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. That's coming Thursday from 7:30 p.m. as always. Can't wait for that. Catch up with the gang. See what's cooking. What's got us talking. Who got their pre-orders in for the TV movie on Blu-ray or 4K or both. Be here and find out with us 7:30 p.m. this coming Thursday. And you can get the earlier editions of the show, of course you can, on the playlists. As always, dive in there with our regular news coverage, our event shows, our deep dives, and lots more coming up throughout 2026. That'll see you through to the Christmas 2026 special. We're doing our bit. You do your bit. Please like this video. It does help more than you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check you're still subscribed. If you think you're subscribed, you might not be subscribed because YouTube doesn't like us very much if you hadn't noticed. And hit the cloister bell to get all those naughty notifications as well. The Type 40 podcast is out there too, Billy. Don't be disheartened on your commute home on the bus. You can get us in your ears on the podcast as well. Yes, that's it for this one. Let's see. We've got some more comments. A terrified monk says, "Why has Dan forsaken me with that shooty gatwa dance?" People love that. People ask me to play that, believe it or not. Matthew Pounder says he can imagine Christopher Eccleston's response. Do you think he may not be best keen? I think he might have something to say. Think it would be a no? You could be right. You could be right. Whilst I'm at it, thank you for supporting a Warp Drive, our sister show. They're covering all things Star Trek. Relaunched for 2026. This is Star Trek's 60th anniversary year as well. I've been hosting this show off and on for six or 7 years, something like that. We do it when we feel like it, really. When we feel that there's something worth talking about, either worth celebrating or worth going all in on. And the 60th anniversary year of Star Trek seemed like a good one to us. We're reviewing Starfleet Academy. I know. I tried to make it sound a big deal. We're reviewing Starfleet Academy every Saturday here on YouTube and Rumble. So if you like a bit of Trek as well, I know Star Trek is a dirty word, or dirty two words for some Doctor Who fans, but it's not to us. You can catch the regular panel 7 o'clock every Saturday with that dual streaming there with our live reactions to each episode of Starfleet Academy, and more to come too. So thank you everybody who's been supporting that, and whether you've enjoyed it or not. Bowie in 1996 would have been a game changer. He would. He was, what was he doing in 96? That was the year after Black Tie, White Noise was 92, 93, wasn't it? Outside was 97. So he could have fit it in between albums, couldn't he? Between big albums. Christopher Gable was certainly channeling Bowie, says Matthew Pound. Do you think he was? I've never looked at it that way. Maybe he was. I suppose it was. If it was written with Bowie in mind, maybe it was. Maybe they told Gable that Bowie had turned it down. I don't know. Sting can't act, says I am your servant. I don't think it really matters. He could play himself. Sting's got a lot of charisma. I haven't seen Sting act for a long time, actually. Come to think of it. Got a lot of charisma, though. I think he could have played that part quite well. David Bowie would have been perfect as Stephen Braddock. Yes, Liam Gallagher. That would have been good as Doctor Who, wouldn't it? Liam Cunningham was in the running for the TV. You know, look, it'd be easier to name the actors between 30 and 45 who weren't on the various short and long lists to play the Doctor in the TV movie, wouldn't it? Dan, what is your favourite Brigadier story? It was 15 years ago yesterday that Nicholas Courtney passed away. Yes, it was. What was your favourite Brigadier story? Oh, I don't know. Don't ask me questions like that. I have no idea. No, I couldn't possibly say. Not a big unit fan, to tell you the truth. So whilst I loved Nicholas Courtney, I met Nicholas Courtney 3 times. He was a lovely man. Huge, tall and broad, very manly, with a booming voice. Really friendly as well. And I love the character of the Brigadier, but as I'm not a unit guy, the stories drift into one for me. People hate it when I say that. He hates John Pertwee. I don't hate John Pertwee, but I'm not a big fan of the Pertwee era. So if you have to press me, it'd be Mordred Undead. People's family members have given up on Starfleet Academy. I don't blame you for a single moment. It's fucking awful. Okay, let's look. We look for entertainment wherever we can get it, don't we? Just don't look in the direction of Starfleet Academy. Who's hungry? Is the little Tesco still open? That's what I want to know. And will they have put those little yellow stickers on anything by now? I've had a goat's cheese wrap. That's what I fancy. What's the time? 9:15. Yes. If I get down there sharpish, they may have put them in the whoops section. What do you think? Thank you for your company on this chilled out stream. That's what we call it, the chill stream. Type 40 and chill. Doctor Who and chill. And yeah, cheers for the comments, guys. Stephen is a fan of Inferno and the 3 Doctors in particular. There you go. Superb. David Bowie was on tour in 95 and 96. Of course he was. That's how it works, is they put out an album, then they tour it, and they put out an album, then they tour that one. So it tends to go. Yes, I'm going off on my tour of my own now. Kitchen, bathroom, bedroom. The glamour of it all. The glamour of it all. Yeah, join us here for Type 40 Live this coming Thursday. Don't forget to keep an eye on the channel too between now and then. We'll be dropping videos and bits and pieces. And who knows what coming your way. But thanks for joining me on this one. It's been a blast. Covered a lot of ground, I think. News, but not news, right? Yeah, but this is where we close it down. Thanks for your company, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. for Type 40 Live. Good night. Bye-bye.